Quantum physicists discovered that physical atoms are made up of vortices of energy that are constantly spinning and vibrating. Each atom is like a wobbly spinning top that radiates energy. Because each atom has its own specific energy signature, assemblies of atoms collectively radiate their own identifying energy patterns. So, every material structure in the universe, including you and me, radiates a unique energy signature. Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. Your values become your destiny. Mahatma Gandhi. Hi guys, welcome to the first introductory lecture of our program. In this lecture, you will have a very high-level overview of some issues, blocks, that can prevent you connecting from your true self right in this moment. So I would advise you just listen and kind of make mental note if you're recognizing any blocks in yourself that's going to be mentioned in this lecture. And also, what you will find in this lecture, we'll talk about emotional blocks to true self, we'll talk about physical and mental ego blocks, and some remedies, some ways how you can start dissolving these blocks. And again, this is a high-level lecture, so we're not going to go into the details of how exactly you can start applying the recommendations, but you will definitely know more in our future lectures and our work together. You will definitely get understanding and applicable resources of how to start dissolving the blocks. But this one I want to give it to you so you will get an overall idea of main blocks and main ways to dissolve the blocks and start connecting with your true self. In this presentation, we're going to talk about connecting to our true self, to what can possibly be blocking the effective connection to the true self, and how to release these blocks. In this first slide, you see some major types of blocks to our true self. Let's start with the circle that is closest to the true self. Emotional layer. As you might know from our conversations or from your own life and your own research, there are feelings that has higher vibration that gives us energy, vibration that gives us life. And there are some feelings that what we will call a lower vibration, meaning draining. That's feelings that drain our energy and take away our life force. First of all, guys, I want to give you a big disclaimer. All feelings are normal. All they are just a different vibrational energy as a response to something that is happening physically to us or to our thoughts. How feelings generate is outside of the scope of this presentation, but if you're interested, we'll definitely talk about it. So just bring it up if you desire to know more. But for now, let's just say feelings come up as a response to something that we're thinking or something that is physically happens to us. As an example, we get startled or we get sudden pain. So we're experiencing certain or somebody leaves us. Some events that happened and we're experiencing anger or fear. So this is something, some energy that we spontaneously experience. Research says that all feelings, all this energy that is spontaneously generated as a response to thoughts, events, or some physical sensations last only for 90 seconds. 90 seconds. Any feeling that lasts longer means we're grasping to it. We're not letting it just process. Naturally, we started holding on to it by thinking about it. And thinking about the feelings, about the events that cause it, and feelings gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stays longer and longer and longer. High vibrational feelings, just to let you know, it's something like joy, like empathy, like kindness. I feel kind, or I feel excited. And the highest high vibrational feeling is just transcendence. I'm just a pure being. Lower vibrational feelings, on the other hand, something would be like shame, actually the absolutely lowest vibrational feelings, which drains our life force the most. Guilt, apathy, grief, prolonged grief. Anger, pride, desire that has us in our grips. So when we're experiencing these feelings for a time longer than 90 seconds, so for a prolonged time, what happens? They drain our energy and we go to lower vibrational level. And as we know, higher self, our true self, vibrates at a pretty high frequency. So, and two frequencies, if they're different, they cannot just meet up, they cannot match. Painful, what I will call painful negative feelings, prolonged negative feelings, prevent us from connecting with our true self. Next layer is a muscular layer. As you know, our muscles respond to what we think and consequently what we feel. Or sometimes feelings just generate spontaneously, like primary feelings like fear or anger, and muscles will react to these feelings if these feelings are not processed and get stored in our body. Muscles only also react to suppressed feelings that we don't want to acknowledge to ourselves, and we're pretending that we don't feel them. So in this case, the energy, unacknowledged, unprocessed energy, just goes inside. How do we know that our muscles memory or processes that are stored in our muscles are preventing our connection with true self? It comes up usually with chronic muscular tension, chronic body pains, most likely the body pain that has not been diagnosed. You will go to the doctor and the doctor said, I don't see anything really wrong with you, but you have a pain in the body. And in general, disconnection from the body. What does disconnection from the body means? It means that I don't know when I'm cold, when I'm hungry, when I'm full, whether I need to go to sleep, or if I need to relax, or if I need to run. So we just live an autopilot, and we don't listen or we don't understand our body's invitation to live a more aligned life with the body. So we just not hearing our body. Or we might be trying to listen to the body. It's already a great step, but we can just don't understand how to hear its voice. So of course, this muscle tension, when our body is not relaxed, our mind cannot be relaxed. And if our mind cannot be relaxed, our heart cannot be relaxed. And true self really can be accessed in most cases only with a lighter, relaxed heart. Okay? And the outer layer, the big one, it's called ego defenses. What it really means, it's all what our mind creates as stories to protect us from painful feelings, from experiencing something that it feels we cannot bear, that we cannot contain, we cannot hold, and we cannot survive. So these ego defenses can be denial, and we'll talk about them later in the presentation. So here I just want to say briefly what they might be, like a denial, repression, distrust, blaming, projection, minimization, rationalization. So what it means if we stay in our ego, or ego as our main driving force, and we're creating these untrue scenarios in our mind of what we want to think reality should be, we cannot be in our true self at the same time. Because remember, true self, true, it's truth. It's seeing ourselves and life in our reality for what it is. Here is to reiterate the major blocks to our true self. It's low vibrational feelings, it's muscular layer, painful or stiff muscular layer, and ego layer, which are ego defenses of our mind. Okay, guys, so now, how do we unblock these blocks? How can we help ourselves to establish a deeper, authentic connection with our true selves? Okay, let's start with emotional layer. What we can do, we can intentionally start moving ourselves into the higher vibrational feelings. And these feelings mentioned, some of the high vibrational feelings mentioned here can be courage, willingness, joy, peace, acceptance. How we do that? We'll talk about it later and also in our individual sessions. But what's important, again, I want to repeat myself. It's important to remember that all feelings are normal feelings. What is hurting us is when we start holding on intentionally to the lower vibrational feelings, or when we start pushing these feelings away without acknowledging them, saying, no, I'm not feeling that. Then these feelings get stored in our body and this energy start draining our life force. And we start vibrating at the lower vibration and not connect and will not be able to connect to the true self. But when we intentionally move ourselves, say, into the peaceful feeling, and we intentionally will stay with that energy, that in turn increases our vibration and moves us closer to the vibration of our true self. And as you know, like attracts like. So if we're in the higher energy, we are better connecting to the high energy of the true self. Okay, muscular layer. Graceful, coordinated contact with the body. So, and we'll talk later. So what does it mean? It means starting connecting with what our body wants. Doesn't want to rest, doesn't want to move, doesn't want to relax, or at least starting feeling, what does my body feel? And how can I move my body in a graceful, connected, aligned way? And of course, ability to relax and release. And we'll talk later about how to do that. But being able to relax our muscles, relax our mind, which in turn relaxes muscles, and release the stored painful energy from our muscles. And with ego layer, how can we really stop creating untruthful scenarios in our head? Ego defenses. How can we counteract ego defenses? By 3 things: self-awareness, self-assertion, and self-possession. Okay, and now let's start talking about some practical ways to release blocks to our true self. Let's start with emotional defenses. Like here on the left side, you'll see some examples of feelings that drain our energy, low vibrational feelings. And on the right hand side, you see qualities of true self that we can start cultivating in ourselves to counteract the stored or grasp to negative, painful emotion. And how to cultivate them, we'll talk again more in our individual sessions, and we'll align them with specifically your emotional defenses that you use in your life. But now I'm just giving you an overview, which I want you to listen to and kind of start thinking, okay, what are my main emotional defenses? Okay? What feelings am I grasping to? Okay? The first one, which I want to talk to you about, which is feeling of the absolutely lowest vibration. Some even call it a death wish feeling, is shame. Why shame is so detrimental to our system, the feeling of shame? Because shame says, I am bad. Not like guilt, which we'll talk about later, but which says, I've done something wrong. Shame saying, my core is rotten. There is no salvation for me. There is no repair for me. I am bad. So if I know that I am bad, how can I function in this world productively? Because everything will start coming down. I have to protect myself from exposure to others. Because if I will be authentic with others, if I will be true to myself with others, they will see how horrible I am and they will leave me. Or in some cases, the subconscious mind experiencing shame, feeling of shame, is saying, I don't deserve to live. Here we're going back to our painful beliefs. If I am so horrible, everybody just suffers because I exist. It's better for me not to exist. And again, going back, is anybody ever bad? We know we're all children of kind God, of kind universe. We are created perfect, in a perfect way. All our mistakes, all our issues come from a disconnection with this beautiful true self. So feeling shame in a way, saying, oh, I am so horrible, I am beyond repair, it's means saying, you know what, universe, you did not create me in the right way. You made a mistake with me. Somehow there is no mistakes with everybody else, but there is a mistake with me. And we know this is just not true. Okay, but again, saying why shame is created, again, a bit outside of the scope of this presentation, but we know it comes from mostly from childhood conditioning. So, okay, but we're already feeling shame. We're feeling that, yes, I am so bad. So how can we, are we hopeless? Absolutely not. What can we start doing to counteract this feeling? It means how to remove this energy of the feeling from ourselves. It's by getting up into high vibrational feelings. You might, if you're very much in shame, you might start connecting with self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love, self-forgiveness, and also letting go of uncontrollable elements of life. Let's get to the next one, guilt. Guilt is a little bit higher vibration than shame. Not much, but guilt is a useful feeling if it's just experienced momentarily. Guilt is kind of a bell in our body which says, oh, something is not right. I've done something wrong, maybe unintentionally, but I hurt somebody unintentionally, or I maybe broke something unintentionally, but it's upsetting to me, it's upsetting to somebody else, so I feel guilty. It means I've done something bad, I've done something wrong, but I can repair it. I will just acknowledge it. So this guilt comes in, helpful feeling. I'm acknowledging it. I'm maybe making amends and moving on, releasing the guilt. Guilt becomes painful, negative vibration when we start holding to it and just rehashing it over and over in our mind and keep blaming ourselves, and then maybe moving into shaming ourselves, saying, I'll never do anything right, I'm bad. Here guilt moves into shame. So once we're experiencing guilt, we might say, of course, yeah, I've done something wrong. Let me make amends, repair it, forgive myself, let it go and move on. And again, what I'm giving you a very large framework here, so you'll have awareness of what you can do. So if one of your main drivers of your emotional defenses is guilt, you might look at recognition and compassion of acceptance of the shadow sides of yourself. Shadow meaning unacknowledged sides that we either don't know about or feel they are so bad that we don't want to connect with them. Connecting to benevolence, connecting to graciousness, to emotional flexibility. Also, it's important to take in inventory and, of course, come up to acceptance of our limitations. Next one is apathy. Apathy, which sometimes called depression, it means I don't care if I live or die. It's not necessarily the death wishes. Shame might be, oh, I'm bad, I don't deserve to live. Apathy is a little high vibration, still draining. It's like, you know what, I'm not explicitly feeling I want to die, but I'm not necessarily really want to live. I just don't care, I just don't want to be bothered. I have no energy. When we come into apathy, it usually means that our energetic resources has been drained. There are some things which I mentioned here are more like emotional contraction, but one thing I want to tell you about apathy. First thing I would say is if you moved a lot, if you moved a lot physically, energetically, emotionally, and all of a sudden you just feel you're drained, what you do? Rest. Take day, 2, 3 a week, recharge. If you feel that after this recharging, you still feel like something is not right, you still don't have the life force, energy to move on, I would strongly advise you to find a medical practitioner to take inventory of your physical health, do a physical. Let's start with the physical. If physical shows that everything right, everything is okay, but you still feel drained, find a therapist or spiritual guide whoever you call to, whoever you feel can help you with this apathy. If this apathy is at the level which you cannot function, which you cannot even fulfill your daily duties, or if all the joy or any feelings, any positive feelings is completely drained from your life, it's extremely important to find a qualified professional, be that psychiatrist or qualified licensed therapist who is trained to work with clinical depression. If that's what you're experiencing, I would strongly suggest to find a qualified professional, because it might have serious consequences. So that's what we do with apathy physically if we experience it after a time of extreme emotional, physical, mental stress and movement. But if you didn't really have much stress, if you really didn't have extensive physical, emotional work in your life, but you still kind of really feeling apathetic, I would invite you to counteract it with something else. Start moving physically, exercising, doing yoga, weights, walking, running, whatever you like, doing pranayama, doing breathing. If none of this helps, watch funny movies, by the way. Start watching funny movies and laugh. If nothing of this helps and you're experiencing prolonged, debilitating apathy, please, same thing as in my previous example, please contact qualified professional, because it might have a serious consequences to your mental and consequently physical health. But if you're experiencing just, I would say, moderate to low levels of apathy, I kind of feel blah, and I don't have enough, I'm functioning fine in the world, I'm going to work, I'm still connecting to my loved ones, but I just don't have this driver in me to do something that used to give me pleasure, or to take up my hobby. I just don't have the energy for anything. So what do we do here? Some emotional antidotes can be acceptance of the higher will, transcendence of ego-based desires, cultivation of observer mind, connecting to purpose and meaning of life, optimism, hope, growth mindset, and self-efficacy. Next, now let's move to grief. And I also want to stay a little bit longer with grief, because it's also some complex feelings, sometimes very misunderstood feeling. And grief is an absolutely normal spiritual emotional reaction to painful events. If somebody we love dies and we don't grieve, that would be very strange, right? Or if we lose a job we love, we can grieve because we loved it. Any loss, any small loss or big loss that is significant to us actually needs to be grieved. Grief is an absolutely normal feeling. It becomes emotional defense. It becomes block to our true self when it's prolonged. What does prolonged, extended grief means? It's a grief that goes outside of, let's say, normal boundaries. And again, there is no such like uniform boundary for grief, but it's something you will know. Say, I lost my job, which I really loved, and it's been a year, and in this year I cannot move off my couch. Every morning I'm waking up and I'm crying because I'm just missing my job so much. Or let me give you even maybe stronger example. I lost my loved one, and it's been 5 years and I'm still crying every day. I'm not functioning. I don't bring any happiness. I don't feel like I can enjoy anything in my life because of this loss. Meaning this grief took all my energy. Of course, we will always remember the job we love. Of course, we will always miss our loved ones. They always will be in our heart. But it's not this grief, which in the beginning might be overwhelming. It might be normal. If in the beginning your grief for your loved ones takes all your energy, but slowly, the normal, what you would call a normal process of the grief, is slowly, this energy of grief starts getting less and less and less. It takes a lesser part of your life. It might always be with you. Sometimes it might come upon you as a wave and overwhelm you to some point, but then it will go back and it will get, the waves will come. Maybe they will become less. Maybe they will come less often. They will still come, but you will be able to function in your life, and not just to function. You will be able to thrive and enjoy and keep loving your life even while you miss and remember the person you love. That is a normal grief. Here we're talking about a prolonged, complicated grief that overwhelms us to a point that we stopped functioning or because we might function on automatic level, but we will not allow any joy or any relaxation or any relief in our life. So if we're experiencing that type of grief, so what can we do? To counteract it is to start processing the painful, maybe some unresolved painful feelings associated with this grief. We can cultivate flexible mindset. Again, acceptance of the higher will. Nowhere we can go without it. Connection to the transient nature of life. Courage and faith. Okay? So fear. Again, some fear can be normal as a protective mechanism, but if we're always living in fear, if fear preventing us from achieving our goals and causing high anxiety, again, how do we counteract the fear? Again, by cultivating trust in the higher will, by learning how to live in the present moment, connecting to the feelings of safety, safety in your body, safety in your mind, safety in the universe, connecting to the optimism, developing rational analysis, a rational mindset, and again with the fear can be really caused sometimes by trauma, so it's very important to process your trauma, have a desensitization, meaning like healing of your traumatic reactions, physical and emotional release. So of course, just simple, sometimes body, relaxation of the body and relaxation of the mind. Okay, so desire. Desire, it means grasping in this context. There's nothing wrong with desire, with sexually desire somebody. Or if I'll say, oh my God, I just desire to see the sunset. I love to see it. Absolutely nothing. Oh, I desire to go to Paris, to London. Nothing wrong with that. But it's more this, when we're talking about that type of negative desire, it means I am really have a hold on that. I will never be happy if, as example, I'm desiring this person and I don't see myself being happy until I fulfill this desire. And even when I fulfill this desire, I want more and more and more. Or I really want to see the sunset, but it's been the whole last week was gloomy and I absolutely cannot be happy. And I cannot relax and enjoy my life because my desire of the sunset is unfulfilled. See, we becoming a slave, we become really attached and we becoming a slave of this insatiable desire, becoming attached to it. So in this case, it does start draining and significantly drain our life energy. What we need to start cultivating in ourselves? Psychological flexibility of ego-based desires. Detachment from idolizing anything, creating idols in our mind, be that physical or emotional, spiritual idols. Working in our own emotional, spiritual self-fulfillment. And connecting to some internal, unshakable sources of happiness that are not external, but internal, but also not grasping to them. Okay, but remember, again, here we're just giving you framework so you know where to go, what to cultivate if you're experiencing any of these painful feelings. Okay, and if you're saying, okay, I'm not sure connection to actually unshakable source of happiness, what they are, but you know, I need to work on desire, do research, contact a therapist, contact a coach, and you will know what to do. And of course, in our individual sessions, we will connect to it. Let's move on and talk about anger. And again, I wanted to make a disclaimer. Anger is a normal feeling. If somebody hurts us, we feel spontaneous anger. It's normal. When we started holding on to it, or when we deny it and it gets into our muscular layer, or if it's really volatile and we just express it in inappropriate ways, meaning ways that hurt others, then it becomes a draining emotion because it stays with us, it drains our energy. So if you feel like anger, one of your main driving defenses, what you can do? You can cultivate compassion towards self and others. You can have realistic expectations, ability to accept reality, ability to tolerate sadness and grief. Again, emotional flexibility. Maybe detach from your desire to control others and just in general to control life and to control events. Control, which goes hand in hand with detachment from fixed mindset, which means it should not be this way, it has to be this way and only this way. And I'm angry if it's not this way. And forgiveness. Yeah, just cultivate ability to let go and forgive. And just another one example is pride. And pride, we know what it is. I am better than you, or I am better than everybody else. That's pretty much, in a nutshell, this is pride. I am better than others, and I deserve more than others. Comparison with others and self-fulfillment, negative self-fulfillment based on this painful feeling that separates us from others. So if we feel we're really in this prideful state of emotions, and it really hurting us, because pride, again, it's a low vibration. It doesn't have anything to do with being proud. Remember, proud is a very beautiful, I'm proud of myself. Yeah, I achieved something and this is wonderful, but it does not make me any more or any less than others. But I'm congratulating myself. This is being proud. But I am in pride and say, hey, I achieved that. It makes me so much better than everybody else. Or I did not achieve that. But this is not right. I've been sabotaged because I deserve it. I am so much better than everybody else and I deserve it. So if we stay in this low vibrational feeling of pride, what can we do? We can start cultivating, connecting with feeling of oneness with everybody else and with the whole universe. Cultivating them, knowing and then feeling that we all are part of the universe. We integrated with everything, with not just everybody else, but with all sentient beings and with all trees, all grass, everything that we see on Earth. We're just part of it. Releasing unworkable self, or we might more accurate state, like unworkable parts of our structure. So as example, feel, you know what, I did feel that I'm better than anybody else, but somehow it's not working for me. Okay? Or I'm feeling that, or I've been all this life, I've been thinking that the more degrees I get, the better I get. But I don't really want to get these degrees, but I'm just forcing myself. Well, it's not working for me. I just been very unhappy. And now I got all my PhDs and I'm still not happy. What's next? Release. It's not working for you. Connect to what's working. Also, we can release of family, cultural expectations that are not working for us, connecting to unconditional self-love, and working on intrinsic, internal self-esteem, which is saying, I know who I am, and I love myself. I can be sad when something hurting me. I can feel joy when something amusing me. But I know with my sadness and with my joy, with my successes in my failures, I'm not better than anybody else, and I'm not worse than anybody else. We are all the same. Okay, now we're moving on to the physical layer of the body. And the main blocks of connection of a true self from the physical layer standpoint are muscular tension, chronic body pains, and disconnection from the body. First of all, we have to understand that if we're experiencing any muscular tension, unexplained muscular tension and body pains, we got to have a physical checkout. This, what I'm talking about here, applies only if we've been through all the physical checkouts. We know that there is, nothing wrong, or if we've been diagnosed with something, we have a treatment plan. When we have that, then we can say, okay, maybe I have this muscular tension, and it's not caused by any physical issue. It's already been ruled out by a qualified medical professional. But I know my muscles are tense, then most likely we know this is emotions stored in the body, or our bodily defensive reaction to what's going on with us in a present life that this might not be acknowledging. Okay, this is muscular tension, chronic body pains, the same thing. If the physical reasons has been ruled out, or if we've been diagnosed with something, we know, okay, this pain is coming from that, but maybe there is a part of it. There is a physical part, which is sometimes called by emotional part, sometimes it's not. But we sense, or we've been told by a qualified professional again, that you might have trauma, you might be not connecting with your emotions. If we know that type of emotional difficulty to release emotions can also cause chronic body pains, or they can be just somatic body pains that come from unknown sources, and they completely related to our emotional states, the reaction of the body to our emotional state. So if we have that we can proceed with examples specified here. And we'll talk a little bit more about the disconnection from the body. So if you're experiencing muscular tension as a result of stored emotion, so what can we do? Besides typical exercises like yin yoga or relaxation, which not even mentioned here because this is just a physical exercise, but this is a wonderful tool for you too. So I would suggest going into the yin yoga poses and concentrate on a certain muscle that you want to relax. Just breathe into it. And you might say, relax, while holding in your mind's eye the certain muscle. And go slow. If you have significant tension, again, I strongly suggest you to start with a qualified yoga professional who can show you how to do this exercises safely for your body. Just remember, let's treat ourselves with kindness and compassion, safety first. So, in any kind, relaxation, yoga nidra, progressive body relaxation, all this is absolutely amazing. What we're talking about here is more what can we do from emotional standpoint. So for the muscular tension, besides, again, progressive relaxation, warm baths in yoga, you can also, an emotional level, cultivate living in the present. Why? Because when we're in the present, we're not stressed. Because all there is now. We're not worried about the future. We're not regretting the past. So our body instinctively relaxes. Okay, muscle tension. Acceptance. As muscle tension in many cases can be caused by denial of reality and pushing it away. Like, when we tense and push it away, saying, no, I don't want it to be like that. So let me get into defense mode because I want to defend myself from reality. And when we fight reality, reality will always win. So acceptance doesn't mean I'll just give up and I don't do anything to improve my situation. No. Acceptance means I'm in peace with what's going on. I might not like it, and I will put effort forward to change it. But in my soul, I understand the reality and I accept that this what it is. I'm not fighting the reality. Okay? Well, internal peace, it comes along with internal peace. Feeling of safety. Lots of times, body tenses up when we feel physically or emotionally unsafe. So here we might have to go back to the childhood. Was I safe as a child? Could I rely on my caretakers? And the next step would be now in the presence. Do I feel that I can relax in this world? Do I feel safe physically? Do I feel safe emotionally? Cultivating relaxed, subtle body, that's what we can do with yin yoga or just general yoga or stretches, whatever you like, as long as it gets into our fascia, into our muscles, and let them relax. Maybe some relaxation meditation can help that too. And cultivating positive beliefs about self and universe. Positive beliefs, again, it's not lying to ourselves, but it's holding into our awareness that we're all wonderful, beautiful, loved creatures of the universe. And of course, there is more tools to that, but it's again outside of the scope of this overview, because this workshop is an overview. It's outside of the scope of that, but in our individual sessions, of course, we'll talk more about it. Okay? Chronic body pains kind of sometimes can go together with muscular tension. So I would say that everything that applies to muscular tension can also apply to chronic body pain. And you can sense, what do I drawn to? With muscular tension, I would say definitely cultivate relaxed, subtle body, because it will address it on the physical level, and then start cultivating I would say that's when be probably the first line of treatment. And the second line, start working on your emotions and your mindset. Okay, or gently bringing up your emotions, the ones we discussed in the previous slide, to the higher vibration. And chronic body pains, again, just like muscle tension, the cousins, they can be caused by stored painful emotions about our body, negative beliefs about self, others in the world, okay? And they also can be caused, again, by denial of reality, not acceptance of reality. And now let's talk about the last one, is how do we counteract disconnection with the body? The first one, of course, if we know we had a significant trauma. Or we might know that, but we sense that something might have happened to us that caused our disconnection from the body. Again, please contact a qualified professional, preferably a therapist who maybe specializes in post-traumatic stress symptom or any somatic professional that specifically works from the body standpoint. Hakomi therapy is beautiful. So get somebody like that and start processing and releasing, desensitizing. All it is just releasing traumatic memory stored in your body. So in turn, that will lead to maybe relaxation of your muscle. And it's also will start showing, hey, it's safe. It's safe now to be in your body. Because what happens in many cases with significant trauma, the child's mind feels, and rightly feels, that the child is not able to hold and survive the trauma that was happening to her body. And the mind just shuts off this connection with the body, the protective mechanism. So the child starts living in her head and disconnects from any feelings from the body, because if it's not safe, it's just too painful. Okay, so what we're doing, we're reestablishing this connection, because now we know no matter how painful it is, we can emotionally, we can survive it. So also what's important, if you know that you really not connecting with your body, like again, you don't know when you're cold, when you're hot, or what your body really wants, start cultivating again unconditional self-love and self-acceptance. And what's very important, especially for women, is connecting with your inner femininity. So what does it mean? It means simple things like, okay, first acceptance. I'm accepting a certain shape of my breasts. I'm accepting a certain shape of my vagina. I love my body just the way it is. It doesn't mean if I need to lose weight for medical reasons, I'm not going to do that. But I'm doing it lovingly, with the love of my body. Or if I need to gain weight for medical reasons, okay? I'm doing it lovingly, with love for my body. For that, connecting with your body through accepting your femininity, which you can do like even simple things. You can put some lotions on your body and you can smell them. What do I like? Do I like lavender? Do I like bergamot? Maybe I like lemon. What scents do I like? Okay. And then simply just gently put on your body and feel how the skin feels under your hands, okay? Just feel that, relax into that. Say, hey, simple things. Do I like taking baths or do I like a shower? If you don't know, take both and just connect to yourself. Here I'm in a bath. How does it feel? Okay, good. Here I'm in the shower. Oh, I like shower more, but maybe sometimes before bed, I prefer bath. In the morning, I prefer shower. Simple things. Not what is most practical here, but what does my body wants? Okay? And it's like checking in. Okay, here I have fish and I have, pasta. They feel light. Take a small bite of each. And listen to your body. When I take this bite of a fish, does my body relaxes more or it tenses up? When I take the pasta, maybe I like both. It's a kind of a silly examples, but it shows like step by step how do we get to know our bodily reaction. Okay? You can go further with that. So again, that's outside of the scope, but I wanted to mention that then your body will start being your guide of how to connect with people. So you might start after you've done through different steps, after you fleshed out, released, and process the painful memories that might be stored in your body. After you really connecting to your self-love and self-acceptance, after you went through all the physical sensation, you understand what does my body like, what it doesn't like, what kind of smells, what kind of clothes. Do I wear silk? Do I prefer silk? Do I prefer wool? Do I prefer, cotton? Okay? What kind of even designers I like? Okay? I will go through all that. And then I might start, when I meet people, I will start sensing, does my body tells me, do I just pull back? Pull forward and relax, or I pull back and recoil instinctively. And it will also tell you who might be safe for you, who is not. This is later on. I just want to show you some very interesting and magical stuff you can do by connecting with your body. Okay, so that's the main way we're working through liking our body, connecting with it, through starting doing some physical little relaxation exercises which help us to relax the muscle, and maybe really connecting with our emotions, so they will stop being psychosomatic, so they will stop talking to us through the body. Because sometimes some psychosomatic pains, it is what it is, just our unacknowledged emotions are talking to us through our body. Once we start listening to that, like again, processing them, releasing them, once we start listening to our emotions, they don't have to talk to us through language of our body. And there would be no needs for pains and aches, because all of these pains and aches are telling us, hey, it's like an alarm bell, something is not right, listen to me, something is not right emotionally. But once we know it, the body doesn't need to hurt. Alrighty, guys, now we are moving on to the last layer of the blocks, the mental blocks, which we call here ego defenses. Well, first of all, let's talk about the definitions and give you some examples, what they are. And then, after that, we can talk about how to unblock them. So, here we go. Denial. When we in ego defense call denial, we're not admitting our feelings. We're saying something happened, something painful happened, but I am okay with that. Or, again, something serious is happening, but I'm pretending this is not my reality. This is not happening. So, here is an example. My boss screamed at me, but you know what? I am not upset. I am completely okay. This is an example of how we deny our feelings. Another example of denial is denial of reality. That will sound something like that. My boss screamed at me, but most likely he is not mad. I didn't do anything wrong, everything is okay. So obviously something is happening, but we are denying the reality. Moving on, repression. This feeling, when we go into repression, this is also subconscious mechanism. Our mind, or more likely our subconscious mind, is telling us that this feeling that we might experience is too much for us, too painful, we will not be able to bear it. Our subconsciousness is saying, I don't want to feel it, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to feel it. And here is an example staying with work-related. My boss screamed at me, and if any thoughts come up about this incident, I'll just push them down. So basically, I'm not feeling anything and I'm not thinking anything. Nothing has happened. Kind of like denial, but in denial, we might still experience some conscious feelings. With the repression, everything goes into unconsciousness. We don't want to feel feelings. Distrust. Distrust, it's like, I don't believe either it can be distrust towards ourselves or distrust towards others. So as example, I don't trust myself that I can make good decisions. So you know what happens? I'm not making decisions. I either completely, also ego defenses of getting to true self. I'm either not deciding anything at all, or I'm always asking opinions of others. Or it can go another direction. I cannot trust anybody. I cannot think that anybody cares for me. So I'm completely self-reliable. I can never relax around anybody. So the ego defense is, I'm not safe with others. I'm not safe with myself. I'm not safe with life. I'm not safe here. Okay? So in this case, the distrust might be, my boss screamed at me, and I feel like he screamed at me baselessly, but I'm not even going to go to HR. Why? Because nobody can help me anyways. Nobody cares about me. So in ego defense way, in a deeper way, distrust might be, I don't trust what I feel, and I don't trust my reality either. So that's a deeper layer, which we will actually address when we'll be talking later on about negative beliefs or painful beliefs about ourselves and reality. Okay. Next one is blaming. It's never my fault. It's either others or universe are at fault. I'm always blameless. So how is it ego defense? Again, all ego defenses has something to do with protecting my persona, my picture of what I want myself to be, of how I can be acceptable to myself, whether it has anything or something or nothing to do with reality. So in blaming, my defense, I'm perfect. Everybody else is wrong. Protecting the ego, protecting the picture of myself as somebody who never makes mistakes. So here example again, my boss screamed at me, but no, I'm not even gonna ask what's going on. I don't care. He's always wrong. I know I cannot be blamed. So, and even if my boss screams at me and tells me what I've done wrong, I will either start arguing with it or might withdraw and even pretend that I understand, but inside of me, I will be thinking, oh my God, he's absolutely wrong. There is no way I can be blamed for anything. So again, protecting our fragile ego, protecting our picture of ourselves. Projections. Again, some feelings. Again, there is image of our ego. I am I'm a person who cannot feel anger. Or I'm the person who will never get sad. So, but we are human beings, so we do feel feelings. It's impossible not to feel them. But with projections, we cannot connect. We either cannot really connect to those feelings and it's completely unconscious. Or we can slightly connect with it, but we again go into denial. We're denying that we feel the feelings, but we need to protect ourselves again from admitting that we might feel anger, as example. So our subconscious defense goes like, okay, I'm seeing it as somebody else. So we're finding our feelings into somebody else. My boss screamed at me, but I know why. It's not really work related. He hates me. So what's going on here? Although the boss completely might not hate this person, that his reaction was 100% work related, but the person, the ego, really hates the boss, which is actually happens. It's human. But the person cannot admit to herself that she hates her boss. Because why? In her ego doesn't feel hate. I'm the person who is not hateful, who never feels hate. And I cannot admit to myself that that's what's coming up in me. So my boss serves sort of like a broken mirror to myself. My ego is saying, oh, look at them, that's what they feel. Kind of showing, that's what I really feel, but I don't want to admit it. So I say, yeah, my boss really hates me, but I'm not the one who hates. That's something to keep in mind. Minimization. Also projection of, it's avoidance of connecting with deep feelings because they might be too painful, and there is a fear that I might get overwhelmed by these feelings, and subconscious feeling that if I get overwhelmed by some painful feelings, I will not survive. So our protective mechanism of ego is, it's not that bad. I might experience some feelings, but I will not experience its full impact. Because the sense of the ego is, the system, my system, will not be able to handle it. Sometimes this minimization, how we can easily recognize it, when it comes in comparisons with others. So as example, my boss screamed at me and, well, I shouldn't get upset. Why? Because there are other people who get fired and this is my work. This is much worse. So everything okay, I should feel fine. Or even deeper, somebody will not even connect to the feelings of how they feel and they will say, no, I feel fine. Also inside they don't, but they're so disconnected from their sense of self and from what they actually feeling inside, they cannot even make a connection. And they truly feel like they're not feeling anything. Because they don't know. They don't know what how upset means. And this is, of course, an extreme example, but that happens. Everybody else is kind of like we're all always on the scale here. And the last one is rationalization. And rationalization, it's a kind of I would call it a distant cousin of minimization. It's again mental decision to let me always put a positive spin on negative events. And sometimes, of course, something positive comes out of something painful, but sometimes it's not. First thing that we need to do to soften this ego defense, and I'm kind of getting ahead, but just to mention it here, is to admit fully how we feel. Only then, after we admit the full extent of our authentic feelings, only then we might analyze the event, we might say, well, maybe there is something positive about it, but first part is always deeply, truly connecting to the way we feel. In rationalization, the mind wants to protect the ego, fragile ego, from painful feelings. In this case, it can be my boss screamed at me, but he's really envious of me. Or he's just envious that I'm so successful, so I should not be upset. Or rationalization could be, you know what, I have the diabetes, but you know what, there are children who have diabetes and they suffer. If children suffer, I shouldn't be even suffering. I should not be upset about my illness because it can be worse. Kind of, as you can see, distant cousin of minimization. Only when in minimization, we're making the impact of something happens really small and even denying it. In rationalization, we're trying to find logically the more positive outcome. Why I'm going deeper into the ego defenses and the examples? Because in the spiritual realm, there is lots of people go into defense, which called spiritual bypass. What is spiritual bypass? Let's take all these ego defenses and put it in one. People will say, I am so spiritual, I am so evolved that I never get upset, I don't feel pain, I never get hurt. And of course, we can get to that point if we are Buddha. How many of us gonna be Buddha? Not too many. In the vast majority of cases, the spiritual bypass is avoidance of reality, is ego identification with evolved spirituality and disconnection, pushing away the normal human feelings. So here is examples of ego defenses. So to continue, I want to really quickly just give you an overview of what can be done to dissolve these ego defenses. And of course, remember, this is an overview. The actual work is much deeper. It takes time. There is no quick solutions. That's important to keep in mind. So here I will just invite you to listen, to look at the PowerPoint. What's important for us here is for you to kind of start listening and say, hey, this is maybe my primary ego defense. This is my secondary. This is my tertiary ego defense. So in our individual work, we can start addressing them and creating a plan for the deeper work on dissolving these blocks. So denial. In that case, it's too painful to feel. Quality of true self. Dissolving quality that we can start connecting to dissolve the block is compassionate acceptance of reality, cultivating an observer mind, living in the present moment. Repression. It's too painful to think about it. So recognition and compassionate acceptance of the shadow side of self. And we talked about shadow sides of self before, and we will be talking about it a lot in our individual work. Just to repeat, shadow side of self is a parts of self that we either not know about or we don't want to acknowledge because we feel they is shameful or not acceptable. Distrust. It's too painful to be vulnerable, so I'm not going to trust anybody, sometimes not even myself. Antidotes. Connection to oneness with others and with universe. Cultivating safety and trust in relation to the self. So, of course, first we have to establish relationship with the self, and then we will be creating different safety. Safety can be also physical, emotional, and we will be looking at that later in our further work. Blaming. It's just too painful to feel guilty. So the ego is saying it's too painful to admit that I'm not perfect. So antidotes: accepting responsibility for our own action, and also releasing responsibility for actions of others. Projections. It's too painful to see my other side, my shadow side. So what do? I prefer to see it in others. I don't want to see it in myself. Antidote: non-judgmental understanding and ability to tolerate our own impulses and feelings, and ability to tolerate our thoughts, and sometimes it's a disconnection from our thoughts and just taking our thoughts for what they really are. But the biggest part of it, of course, there is no feelings that are bad feelings. We all have painful feelings. We all have joyous feelings. These feelings are normal. Acceptance of the shadow side of ourselves, acceptance and compassion to the painful parts of our personality. Minimizations. It's too painful to feel hurt. It's too painful to experience sadness. Inability of fear of feeling feelings, deep feelings. So what can we do here? We need to start honoring our own experiences. We need to foster ability to tolerate painful emotions. And of course, here is a big one. And self-compassion, but self-compassion is a big one with all of them. If I can emphasize one quality, which overarching all antidotes, if overarching all ways to release blocks, it's always self-compassion. Always, it's a foundation. Always starting and always fostering self-compassion. And last one, which we're looking at here, is rationalization. It's too painful to acknowledge my reality, the reality as it is in this very moment, as it truly is. My ego feels that it's not gonna be acceptable to its image of self. So I'm gonna rationalize it and deny it, of course. So again, compassion towards yourself and towards others, ability to accept reality, ability to tolerate grief, and ability to acknowledge, feel, and tolerate losses in love life, and associated painful feelings. In this last slide, I want to give you a brief overview on the chakra-based antidotes to blocks that preventing connection to our true self. Explaining the chakra system is outside of the scope of this presentation, but if you're interested in chakra-based work, we definitely can do it in our individual sessions, and we can talk more about it. Or what I would refer you to, if you want to know more about chakras, there is a beautiful book which called Eastern Body, Western Mind, and there is a reference to this book on the bottom of this PowerPoint. So I would definitely advise you just to get it and read it, and that beautifully explains the chakra work. You don't want to read the book? We'll talk about it again, like I said, in the individual session. Just quickly to give you a very, very quick overview, chakras are energy vortices in our body that connect body energy system from bottom to top, and our emotional balance and health depends on their vibration and connection and communication. So any blocks in chakras, either in the vibration of a chakra or in communication between these energy bodies, between ourselves, create a disbalance in the system, and disbalance, which we'll call dis-ease, uneasiness in the system, is always blocking connection to the true self. So, first chakra, which is sacral chakra, is connected to the safety. It's always safety. I have a right to be here on this earth. I have a right to exist. Any issues related to the first chakra can be addressed with cultivating feeling of trust, belonging, safety, working on the flexible boundaries, self-efficacy, and connection to the body, and living in the present moment. Going up, second chakra, is I have a right to feel. So if we have any issues with it's located in our sacral area. If we have any issues with feeling, I don't think I have a right to feel. What do? We need to start. Well, first of all, it also has something to do with sexual feelings too. So we honor our sexuality in whatever way, shape, or form it comes in our life. We embody our feminine self. And or if any men are watching, the masculine self. What is my self as expression of my gender? Ability to tolerate and process painful feelings. I have a right to feel, and I'm okay to feel. Connection to pleasures, self-acceptance, and cultivating zest, like desire to live. Fun, having fun. Third chakra, right below navel, which some people call like the place of power, is I have a right to act in the way I know how. If, again, we feel, I'm not sure if I can act, or I'm not sure if I have a right to act, or I'm not sure I can do the right actions, what do we need to cultivate? Self-knowing, self-esteem, trust in our ability to make our own decisions, autonomy, individuality, or individuation. Yes, I know who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. Spontaneity and proactivity. Moving up, very important, fourth chakra, located energetic vortex in our chest. I have a right to love. Love myself, love others, love universe, and also accept love, to get love out and to take in love. Actually, in this chakra, the first three chakras bring the energy to this chakra. They connect here in the heart, and the higher chakras. So energy from higher chakras come back to the heart, and that's where everything blends in. So it's very important that this chakra, it's not blocked. So I am not just able to give love, I have a right to receive love. So if we have issues with receiving and giving love, what we need to cultivate? Sense of oneness, self-love, self-compassion, balance of the mind and body. Well, animals, this is more involved. We'll talk about more in the individual sessions. Again, that's it's our yin and yang side. It's our feminine, masculine qualities. Balance between attachments and freedom. It's lots in the first chakra. It's lots about balance. And also balance about ability to self-assert ourselves, be proactive, but also ask for help. So as you can see, first chakra is balance. Can I find balance between giving and receiving, loving and giving my love? Moving up, fifth chakra, in our throat. It's our ability to express ourselves. I have a right to speak my truth. I have a right to be myself and express, not just be myself. I have a right to express myself. So if you know that I have difficulty with expressing yourself, or being truthful and telling truth and just being open with your opinions to the world. So what can you do? Well, try learning speaking your truth, maybe starting small and then making it bigger and bigger until all your communication is authentic. Finding your voice, physically finding your voice and singing, and finding your voice in a bigger sense. How do I want to express myself to the world? What is my voice in this world? Well, self-expression, creativity. And again, being open-minded and listening to others, see how they express themselves. And being open to their self-expression, being accepting of self-expression of others. Okay, moving up to the here forehead. So what some people will call a third eye chakra, sixth chakra. I see. I am connecting to the present moment, to future and the past. I am connecting to others. This is internal seeing. I sense. I see by spiritual, by deeper, energetic connection. So if we feel this connection is blocked, if we feel like we cannot align with like universal energy, with energy of others, we really don't have any visions, like energetic visions of our future or of our presence. We're just not connecting with our internal energy. What can we do? I would say one of the big ones is really connecting to the purpose and meaningful of life. So we have some kind of a guide in a way. Developing your intuition, creating your personal vision, recognizing patterns in life, connecting to life as a learning experience, self-completeness and wholeness, connection to a higher consciousness. And the seventh chakra, eighth chakra, some people say there is like blue white light out there, but let's talk about seventh chakra, which is on top of our head, is our connection, direct connection with divine. I have a right to know. It's direct knowing. This is a full connection with a true self. I don't have to be convinced. I know. You know how sometimes you have this feeling of complete peace and understanding and balance. That means a connection with our seventh chakra. So if we don't really have the feels of this connection, we might want to connect to acceptance of higher power guidance, connection to inner wisdom, openness to new ideas, universal identity, transcendence and immanence, and living in a high consciousness. And again, lots of this material, not all of it, but this material which I just presented to you, adapted from this beautiful Anadei Judas book, Eastern Body in Western Mind. So if you're interested in the chakras, please read the book and let me know, and we'll start working on that. So that concludes my introductory presentations of blocks to the true self. Now you have a very basic overview, and hopefully you're ready to start the journey. And once you listen my other presentations, which you get in this package about inner child work, about internal resourcing, and about releasing your negative beliefs about yourselves and connecting to your positive beliefs, lots of the blocks, and once you start working, of course, on connecting to your true self, lots of the blocks will start dissolving. And with that, I will let you go forward with light and love and many, many blessings.